Be sure to stay tuned into this week's edition of Bearcat Update to see highlights of our best work this year as we recap how teams finished the season along with exclusive interviews. Check it out right here on another edition of Bearcat Update.
This is the channel that keeps you connected to Bearcat sports. Features, highlights, interviews.
Which is also one of the best records in school history. I think it also puts a lot of pressure on us because every team is going to play us really hard.
Now back left side, Hudgens, deep three, left side, yes sir!
When these runners compete at the highest level in D2 sports, let's take it from the track to the field.
Thank you for joining us on the longest running sports television show at Northwest Missouri State. I'm your host, Brodie Wallace. The spring semester for Bearcat sports has had plenty of great moments for our fans to look back on. This year, we saw the Northwest women's basketball team finish the season with a 17-12 record, which was their best record since 2010. The team also returns multiple key pieces to be able to be successful again this next season. Naomi Tejas took over as head coach for the women's softball team, which is another Bearcat athletics team that is swinging in the right direction. The Northwest track and field teams were winners of multiple weekend meets this season, including a handful of personal records throughout the season, which was capped off with the solid finishes from this year's MIAA tournament. And of course, the Northwest men's basketball team winning another national championship this season. With all these moments and memories in our minds, I wanted to collect some of my favorite Bearcat Update highlights and interviews. For the recap of this action-packed spring, I'm going to start things off with Northwest women's basketball. That week, the Bearcats had 4 games in 8 days, right before the MIAA tournament, and we spoke to senior Mallory McConkey to get her thoughts that far.
We made a big jump from last year. Obviously, we lost a lot of close games, and I don't think anybody would ever be happy with that, wishing that we could get those. But yeah, this year has been something that I won't ever forget, especially with how the girls, how we've come together every year, and this year even more. It's just awesome to see the growth and the genuine, we genuinely want each other to succeed. And I mean, we've had that every year, and it's been an awesome year, and I wanted to keep going.
The ladies ended up with a 7-15 record on the season and barely lost to Nebraska Kearney in the MIAA tournament with a score of 47-52. We then took a look at some more basketball, but it wasn't the typical men's and women's teams. Northwest Campus Recreation hosted their intramural all-star game with special guest coaches Trevor Hudgens and Diego Bernard. They told us how the experience was.
It was a good experience coming out. I'm just happy that they asked me to do it, for sure.
It's just actually pretty fun. Knowing some of the guys on the team, on both teams actually, it's just pretty fun just being out here for intramurals.
Diego's team ended up winning the game, but I'm pretty sure Trevor thinks he's still the better coach. Definitely one of the most exciting weeks this spring was when the Northwest men's basketball team won their 3rd national championship in a row. This three-peat will no doubt go down in history as one of the greatest runs in the MIAA. We spoke to Dr. Jasinski about the game.
Just taking it in, because you don't know when you get back to that level, right? You just never know. And so, fantastic experience, great game, by the way. I can't wait to go back and watch it because it was a superb basketball game. And we made sure we kept people on the edge of their seats, and that's good. But ultimately, you come out victorious, and that celebration was fantastic.
The Bearcats ended the season with a 34-5 record, and Trevor Hudgens became one of the most decorated D2 players, winning a wide range of awards. Finally, to wrap up the semester of Bearcat sports, we took a look at some Northwest football. On April 14th, the Bearcats hosted their annual spring football game. This game was open to the public, and everyone was excited to see some live action. We talked to head coach Wright about the team.
I was pleased with the way the ones opened up the game and moved the ball right down the field. The one defense did what it was supposed to do against the twos and didn't give up any first downs until late. Those things are good things. Then it's just a matter of seeing, kind of how guys execute. Because the issue is, we graduated 3 of the 4 starters in our back end. We graduated 2 guys at linebacker and 2 of our 4 starters in the defensive line. So for me right now, it's about building quality depth. You flip it over on the offensive line, we lost the left side of our offensive line. Our top 3 receivers from a year ago are starting tailback. So it's just who's that next person that's going to step up and make a difference.
Players, but as we saw that week, the returning duo of Mike Coency and Braden Wright will be a tremendous plus for Bearcat football. They will return in action this fall on September 1st at Bearcat Stadium. It was tough for me to narrow down some of my favorite moments from this season because of all that we saw this year. Just around a year ago, these same Bearcat sports teams were forced to cancel entire seasons or play without fans in attendance because of the COVID-19 pandemic. We've obviously made tremendous steps throughout the past couple months to get back to filling arenas and enjoying the sports that we love. With that, we're going to take a quick break, but don't go anywhere. When we come back, our reporter Stephen Crosby highlights some of his favorite moments from the spring season. You're watching Bearcat Update on KNWT Channel 8.
Northwest Missouri State University's 4 student media outlets, KNWT Television, KZLX LPFM, the Northwest Missourian, and Tower Yearbook have been ranked among the top in the nation for the College Media Association Pinnacle Awards. The Northwest Student Media Department takes pride in ensuring students are up to date on the latest technology, equipment, industry secrets, and offers profession-based learning experiences from day one. To support Northwest Student Media, check out our content on all of our platforms.
Come join us on Gen 2 to see this week's gaming news, gaming packs from the crew, and Project Delta.
So subscribe and turn on notifications to stay up to date on...
Oh, Gen 2. Oh, that was me.
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah.
Sorry. I was thinking about the Macarena.
Welcome back to Bearcat Update. As we mentioned before, many Northwest programs have been on a trending track towards becoming contenders in the MIAA Conference. Northwest baseball and softball teams have seen multiple breakout stars in the making this season as they'll look towards the future. Our reporter, Stephen Crosby, covered a majority of the teams this season. Let's check it out.
Thank you, Brodie. For this year's wrap-up, I decided to start off with the package about the women's basketball team that I made. I decided to include this package because of some of the shots I included, as well as the interview I had with Mallory McConkey.
A big thing we actually focused on this last week was working on like our self-talk and positivity, and we need to build confidence. And I feel like this past week, with what Meyer has started doing more in practice, is we have to run sprints if we see like obvious bad body language, and I think hopefully that will help a lot with making shots, because this past week we didn't shoot super well from the floor. So hopefully our confidence has been building this past week even more, so then we can make those tough shots that we need to win games.
The first game of the week was against the Washburn Ichabod's at home on Saturday. It was a defensive battle in the first quarter, with the score being 7-9 in Northwest's favor at the end of the first. Both teams' offenses started heating up in the second quarter, where Northwest scored 17 points and Washburn put up 19, with the total score being tied at 26 at the end of the half. The second half continued to be a back-and-forth battle, with both teams relying heavily on their defenses. The game went into overtime when freshman guard Peyton Kelderman drained a three to put Northwest ahead by 2. It was quickly followed up by a Washburn field goal in the final seconds of regulation to tie it up and force the game into overtime. Northwest would wind up winning the game off of a three-pointer by Mallory McConkey, who led the team in points, and the final lead was supplemented by free throws from Peyton Kelderman and Molly Hartnett to put the game out of reach. This is Stephen Crosby reporting on women's basketball for Bearcat Update. Back to you guys in the studio. Our next pack that I would like to show would be my recent Bearcat baseball pack. I would like to include this one because some of the shots I included. Northwest would take an early 2-0 lead, which they held on to during a tightly contested game. After taking then losing a short lead in the fourth inning, Central Oklahoma nearly came back to tie in the ninth inning. However, the Bearcats were able to hold them off and close them out to win the game 10-8. The final pack that I'm including in this wrap-up is the tennis pack that I did in Week 7. I am including this pack because of the shots that I recorded while making it. It is certain that mental strength is a factor whenever it comes to tennis, and the Bearcats have been able to display their mental fortitude after hard losses. The women's team is on a 4-match winning streak currently, after losing back-to-back meets to the Cameron Aggies and the Augusta Vikings shown here. That'll do it for my wrap-up this year. See you guys back in the studio.
Thanks, Stephen. Both teams still have a handful of games to be played this season, so we'll see if they can finish strong before they head into the postseason. Although we won't be back for another episode this semester, you can stay updated on scores and stats from these games by heading over to BearcatSports.com, or you can follow us on our social media at BearcatUpdate_8. Good luck to the teams on finishing up the season with nothing but success. With that, we're going to take another quick break. But when we come back, we take a look at highlights from Producers Picks with your producer, JD Wessel. We're watching Bearcat Update on KNWT, Channel 8.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the first edition of Producer's Pick. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Bearcat Update. I'm not Brodie Wallace, but we're back here for another week of Producer's Picks. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Producer's Picks. I'm your producer, JD Wessel. As Brodie mentioned earlier, the Northwest men's basketball team will go into the MIAA tournament as the second seed. This week, I think it'd only be right if we highlight the Bearcat men's basketball team as they celebrate a national championship victory over Augusta. As Brodie mentioned, the Northwest team made history as they became the first ever team to win 3 consecutive national championships in NCAA history. Before we check out the highlights from the game, some may ask why the Bearcats have been so dominant the past several seasons, a team they struggled to match up with just 5 days ago. The Bearcats suffered a 68-51 loss on the road against the Lopers, but good news, it's March. And as we've seen many times before, the month of March is typically when all the stats, records, and doubts go out the window. Anything can happen in March, and a word of advice for Bearcat Nation would be to put those seatbelts on and get ready for some postseason action.
William on the drive. Pull up, got it! She got it! Jesperson, half-court heave for the win. Ogumbawale for the win. Good! Oh! At midcourt. Jenkins gives it to Jenkins for the championship.
This week we're switching it up for you guys as we have an exclusive in-studio interview with Northwest women's basketball player Emma Atwood.
I feel like the main reason is just being a part of the team. It's just always been so fun, even during practices, during games, and then we do so much team bonding and preseason, and we're always watching The Bachelorette together one night or just doing stuff like that. And so, yeah, just the culture that our team has, and then basically the whole Northwest program.
That's all I have for you guys this week on Producers Picks. Be sure to have yourself a great day, and as a wise man once told me, it's a great day to be a Bearcat. Back to you, Brodie.
We've had quite the battle this semester with each other, but in all seriousness, it's been great working with the Bearcat Update crew this semester. I want to thank all athletes, coaches, and administrators for working with us this semester to make our show one to watch each week, and a special thank you to the viewers watching at home. Thank you for joining us each week to stay up to date with all of Northwest sports. This hopefully isn't our final goodbye, as we plan to see you next fall for another season of Bearcat Update. As always, be sure to let us know what you thought of this week's episode, or what you want to see featured on Bearcat Update next semester. Be sure to follow us on Twitter and Instagram at BearcatUpdate_8, and be sure to hit that like and subscribe button and the bell to stay updated with new episodes from KNWT Channel 8. Thanks for watching. This has been your host, Brodie Wallace with Bearcat Update.
This is the channel that keeps you connected to Bearcat sports. Features, highlights, interviews.
Which is also one of the best records in school history. I think it also puts a lot of pressure on us because every team is going to play us really hard.
Now back left side, Hudgens, deep three, left side, yes sir!
These runners compete at the highest level in D2 sports. Let's take it from the track to the field.
Thank you for watching Bearcat Update. If you missed our last episode, be sure to click here. And for a full playlist of past episodes, click here. Enjoy the rest of the year. We'll see you again soon.